How much difference is there between Shimano's top-of-the-range Dura-Ace group set and Shimano 105?
We found out a few years ago through a combination of grueling tests. But since that video was made, a lot has happened.
And no, we're not talking about politics, the pandemic, or the death of the Queen. We're talking about Dura-Ace going 12 speed and all in on electronic shifting.
Big news in 2021, but then in 2022, along came this. Electronic 12-speed 105. The group set Shimano said they would never make. Question is it now as good as the best of Dura-Ace? We're gonna find out. Right, if you're gonna ride that fast, I'm gonna sit on your wheel.
I would put a reasonable bit of money on that. Left more, left, left.
When Ollie and I compared 105 and Dura-Ace last time, aside from the difference in weight and the difference in cost, we couldn't actually find all that much to separate them.
And that's partly down to the fact that you chose the somewhat rare mechanical version of Dura-Ace and not the slightly more popular electronic version.
That is true, and the reason we chose the less popular mechanical version is so that we could compare like with like, because when you put mechanical up against electronic, I mean, literally anyone could tell the difference.
Like literally anybody.
Literally anybody.
This has actually been developed and designed to be a front wheel.
Okay, almost anyone. But to be fair, even when we rode blindfolded last time, we could still barely tell the difference in performance.
Now this time, we're going to repeat the experiment with the newer generation group sets to see if their performance is still nearly identical. Now, for those of you that are interested in the individual components, over on GCN Tech, we're going to have a closer look at the construction techniques, all of those individual components, and crucially, their individual weights. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, head over and check that out once you've seen this video where we explain what they're actually like to ride.
Our first challenge is going to be hot laps of our local racetrack. Fast straights punctuated with tight turns to brake for and accelerate out of. Generally, we'll just hit it like a pair of hoodlums. Now, as you can see, the group sets are fitted to two Orbea Orca frames, and they're built up more or less identically apart from those group sets. So, will we be able to feel a difference between them?
Ride like general hoodlums. Right, if you're gonna ride that fast, I'm gonna sit on your wheel. Bloody hell, my bike looks good, mate.
Ah, you gotta run up. Ah, you gotta run up. Ah! I've got nothing left. Ah!
Right, go on then. Let's swap.
I've got this one warmed up for you now.
Thank you very much, mate, yeah. There you go. We'll tell you all about it when we finish, all right? Okay, 3 more laps.
Oh, I'm gonna need to sit down after this.
Ah, no wonder you managed to drop me.
Oh, yeah, of course. Ah! Ah! I've got nothing left. I'm absolutely exhausted, but on a more serious and informative point, I'm going to say it was very tricky to feel the difference between the two bikes.
Really?
Like, well, the shifting, like the hands-on tactile feeling of the shifters, for me, is very, very close.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll agree there. Definitely the shifters feel in your hands very similar. But actually, you know, the first thing I thought was the brakes.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I was not expecting that. So there is different technology in the Dura-Ace and the Ultegra brakes compared to 105. They've got something called servo wave tech in there, which kind of makes the brakes feel more sort of squeezable.
We've used the brakes a lot on this circuit as well.
We have, yeah, and instantly, first corner, I was like, whoa, this feels different. But then shifting, I've got to say, like in that instance, 105 did not feel quite as smooth. shifting into harder gears. And this is where it gets difficult because you know that there is different tech in Dura-Ace and 105, but Dura-Ace has Hyperglide Plus.
That's a good point.
So it's where the ramps on the cassette help the chain shift into harder gears. It smooths it out. So there's part of me that thinks I know that tech exists and therefore it feels smoother, but genuinely, I do think it felt smoother shifting into harder gears, which is precisely why we need to move on to challenge number 2, the blind test.
Ah yes, to remove that unconscious bias from knowing what group set we're using, we need to ride the bikes without seeing which one we're on. How? A blindfold. Will the gears still feel different to use? And something even more fundamental than that, will the lever body still feel as good to hold on to?
I do feel the lever shape and size is very similar, but something to point out, which might not be important to some people, but I feel is important, is that on 105 levers, we don't have that little hidden top button. And I actually really like that feature for changing through the gears.
We see, that's funny, because I don't actually use it. I've got it set up to control my Wahoo, but actually, I never use it. Geraint Thomas uses his, you know.
I do feel like we're both equally in tune with our equipment.
You and Geraint Thomas?
Yeah.
Hopefully you're more in tune than Geraint Thomas. He doesn't strike me as being a tech weenie. Yeah.
Anyway, back to what we're here for.
Yeah.
I have our official blindfold. We have, once again, spared no expense on our props.
Is it got a skull and crossbones type thing on there because you expect that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, like that, or like that. No, we'll see as I'm in charge of the blindfold. Well, I guess you can go first. So you take that, I'll take the bike, you get set up, and then I'll just hand you a random bike.
Are you sure this is safe?
Of course it's safe.
Oh my God, I literally can't see a thing.
I do feel like you've styled it out quite well.
Thanks, mate.
I'm definitely mixing the bikes up lots. One to the other side, one to the other side, this one, that one. How are we gonna know? I'm gonna put this between your legs, and that's not
God,
strange.
do that.
Okay, stay still. Yeah, I think you've got this.
This is the moment of truth.
This is so funny.
Is it safe to move forward?
Yeah, definitely safe.
Okay, and you're going to tell me left and right?
Well, you know it's left in a minute.
Well, I know, but as in like,
Let's go slow.
I can't.
Slow enough to balance. Come on. You got it. You got it. Left a bit more. Pedal.
I can't. Oh my God.
Just pedal more. Left.
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 More.
Yeah. Left more. Left. Left. Left a lot more. Pedal straight.
I don't want to pedal. I think I'm on the 105 bike, by the way.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
You were actually on the 105 bike?
The free hub on a 105 wheel sounds completely different to a Dura-Ace one.
God, you really are in tune with this stuff, aren't you?
Do you want to try it?
No.
I want to go up a climb because I want to see whether we can feel the difference going uphill.
That's actually a really good suggestion and is a lot better than my blindfolded test outdoors.
Cool. Aside from the costs, which we will come on to in a little bit, the big difference really between 105 and Dura-Ace is the weight, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. So 105 is 630 grams heavier than Dura-Ace, or a 25% difference. Now, 20% might seem like quite a difference in weight, and across our bikes, they're actually still fairly comparable, even though I've got the lighter and more aero Dura-Ace wheels.
Yeah, so, I mean, as ever with weight, it totally comes down to your perspective. 630 grams is either a little or a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And whilst I don't think I'd worry about 630 grams these days, I've got a feeling that I'll notice it on the bike.
Are you sure you think you're going to notice it? Because I think when you put that weight into a system mass perspective, so that's the bike, the rider, and all of the stuff that you need to ride it, it only equates to a 0.7% difference. You can't tell that.
Well, granted, 0.7% doesn't sound like much, but we cyclists, we're a sensitive bunch, aren't we?
You are very sensitive, I've got to say, yeah.
This is how ruined I am. I got tears streaming down my face listening to James Blunt.
We made it.
We did. Just a little blurb, wasn't it? Right.
Yeah.
The bad news is we've got to do that again.
One thing I am noticing, you and your large chainring all out there.
I am pretty strong these days.
Nothing to do with the different gearing options with the two group sets?
Well, actually, yeah, although, so I got 11 to 34 on here, and there's an 11 to 30 on there, but you can get an 11 to 34 Dura-Ace cassette.
But what you can't get, 105 has the option of an 11 up to a whacking great big 36.
That is true.
Which I think is going to be like pretty good for the majority of people that aren't trying to just smash up all the climbs.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
And for those people that want to leave it in the big chainring to look cool.
You did look cool going out there.
I thought I did. I did have a feeling. It's kind of you to say so.
I'm actually out of breath.
Yeah, me too. Right, okay. Well, I'll come clean.
Go on.
I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the weight element, but I said to you a minute ago, I was definitely in the large chainring for longer, which felt nicer.
I don't know what to say, because I really think that I would feel the difference, but I didn't.
I mean, in fairness, it's a short climb.
It is a short climb.
Maybe over like a longer duration ride or a longer climb, or particularly if you're racing, then I think it would come into a bit of effect.
Yeah, but I've always thought it's on those steeper climbs where every time like you get over the, you put your power down through the downstroke, and then there's that momentary pause where the bike just slows down a little bit as you come through the 6 o'clock position.
Yeah.
And then a lighter bike always feels good because it kind of like, you can feel it surging forwards again. And that was what I was expecting to feel, and I couldn't.
Kind of means we need to go down at some point, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. Come on then. And then we also need to go back to Megabase to do this blind shifting test, because that I think is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Come on, right. Right, okay. This is the moment then where we are going to properly do the blind group set tasting session, okay? So where we will see, first of all, whether we can feel the difference between the shifting performance when we're not handling the shifting duties. We're a glamorous assistant.
Oh, a glamorous assistant.
Glamorous assistant.
Ooh.
And then we're going to hold on to the levers and see whether we can change our minds, or whether we will then, it will cement our opinion. Now, I went first last time.
Yeah.
Well, I say went first. I was the only one that was stupid enough to put a blindfold on and try and bicycle ride. So you stick it on this time.
Do I need to go out of the room?
Yes. So it may or may not be that bike
Okay.
on the rollers. So so forget that. I'll be honest, I'm in a quandary, okay? Because he's probably expecting me to change the bike over. But then equally, he's probably expecting me to know that he's expecting me to change the bike over, and therefore he's expecting it to be that one. So what I might do is swap it over to this one, which he won't be expecting, if you see what I mean. It's about, I couldn't find the blonde wig, which is what obviously just screams glam. So I've gone with, well, I don't know, this Global Triathlon Network had it. Okay, it's time for our first contestant, Alex Payton. Come on in, Alex. Come with me.
This is really
Contestant number 1. Don't tread on the rest of my fancy dress, okay?
Dude.
Yeah, hold it up, you can't, mate. You're a former cyclocross rider. You should be able to jump on this.
Oh. Go up a gear. So at the moment, I'm inclined to say 105,
Are you?
but I think I know a way that I would be able to tell if you change the front derailleur. I think 105. I would put a reasonable bit of money on that.
Okay, so the reason we've asked Alex not to use the front derailleur is because whilst the battery is the same, all the wireless tech is the same, the motor in the front derailleur and the rear derailleur is slightly different. So the front derailleur now makes a different noise to before, okay? So Alex,
Can I go for it?
the big reveal.
Right, so down and then back up.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh my God, this is Dura-Ace.
It is
Oh my
Dura-Ace.
God.
Like Princess and the Pea. Oh no, no.
Dura-Ace. I don't know, in my head, I was trying to think back to earlier today when we were riding around the cycle track, and I was just trying to get a feeling for it. And yeah, it just really confused me, to be honest. Now, Si is probably outside thinking that in all GCN videos, in our true style, we're going to give a balanced view. We're going to use one bike, then we're going to use the other bike. But no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to leave exactly the same bike on here, try and con him into thinking we've changed it up. Right, Si, you good? So a few more paces forward. I'm going to put both your hands onto the saddle. Okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, feet.
Particularly as it's quite high up compared to normal.
Right, so you start pedalling, get a feeling, get the back wheel turning. Right, you sort of up to speed a little bit, you happy?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go for a change. And we're going to go up again. And we're going to go down. What's your thoughts so far? What do you think?
It feels smooth. I'm trying to listen out for the click from the shifter versus the chain moving.
So try and assess the speed?
Basically, yeah, as well as the smoothness.
Wow. You go make a call first.
I think it's Dura-Ace.
Okay, hands on the shifters.
The shifter feel doesn't actually help very much now, does it?
Right, change a couple on the rear cassette first.
Yeah.
And then do the front derailleur.
Dun, 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 the big reveal. Dura-Ace. 100%, isn't it?
I tried doing a double bluff on you to think.
It is Dura-Ace.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm almost like lost for words that you guessed and I didn't guess.
At the beginning of this video, we set out to answer the question, is there a difference in performance between Dura-Ace and 105? And I think the answer is...
Yeah, I think there is a difference.
There is a difference. Yeah, I would agree. And not only that, I'd say there is a bigger difference now, a much bigger difference between Dura-Ace and 105. Now, both have Di2 than there was when we tested mechanical Dura-Ace against mechanical 105. And I guess to a certain extent, that probably shouldn't take us by surprise because I would imagine the reason why Shimano have gone to Dura-Ace, to Di2 for 105 is because they'd effectively got mechanical shifting as good as they possibly could. And the only way to then improve 105 was to give it the Di2 treatment, right?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that. And it was interesting to look at the performance like indoors and outdoors, take into account some of the weights and the braking. And overall, yes, there is a performance difference. And I feel that if you're someone that's particularly in tune with your bike and really clued up on all of the latest tech and really dialed into every little characteristic of your bike, I feel like you can tell the difference a lot easier and sooner than someone that perhaps isn't quite as interested as in tune with this stuff. So in that instance, somebody at that sort of level that isn't interested in the tech might struggle to tell the difference straight away.
Yeah, and also we had the benefit of riding the two bikes back to back.
Yeah.
The differences though were not the shifters, which I thought it would be, but those brakes and then the different motors and the derailleurs and the Hyperglide Plus on the Dura-Ace that means that the shifting is faster, basically, isn't it? And also that different motor in the front derailleur, which I haven't touched on yet.
That gave it straight away for me.
It did, and also aesthetically and aerodynamically, I suppose, the front derailleur has got a smaller profile, hasn't it? So in that regard, it's different. The one thing we should say though about that motor in the front derailleur of 105 is that it is the same internals that was in the previous generation Dura-Ace Di2. So it's tech that has won the Tour de France and every monument in the cycling calendar.
We're using.
Exactly. So although we're comparing it to new generation Dura-Ace and saying like, oh, it's fractionally slower, it's still, you know, it was the best of the best, wasn't it, 2 years ago?
Well, if that, yeah. Quite interesting.
One thing we've not touched on yet, cost.
Price? Yeah.
Price. So, complete bikes on the Orbea website, seeing as we've got two Orbeas here, a Dura-Ace bike is double the price of a bike with 105 Di2, but that's not entirely down to the group set, is it? That's also the fact that everything else on the Dura-Ace bike is better. It's got a higher grade of carbon fibre, it's got carbon fibre wheels, it's even got a power meter, that one. Yeah,
once you start looking at Dura-Ace equipped bikes, you're right into brands' top spec components. And when you look at a bike that's equipped with 105, you're maybe looking at a middle tier frame set, middle tier wheel set, and therefore accumulated together, it puts a different proportion on the prices.
Yeah, but you know what didn't escape my attention on the Orbea website?
Go on.
There is an identically spec'd Orca with Ultegra Di2 that is, was it £700 more
that sounds about
than
right.
the 105 one?
So you're going to throw Ultegra in the mix here, right?
Well, so Ultegra gets you the new motors, it gets you Hyperglide Plus, so it gets you all of those admittedly small performance advantages that you get with Dura-Ace.
Yeah.
But yet you're only paying
Only.
an extra £700.
Well, it all comes down to cost, doesn't it, effectively? I think if you're buying the group sets by themselves, then on average, Dura-Ace is almost twice the price of 105. But as we've always said before, it's not twice as good.
No.
So that's something to take into consideration when you're trying to decide what components to look at.
Yeah, but the Goldilocks option, I guess, the blend of performance and price, is a group set that we haven't got here, which is Ultegra.
That's such a GCN way of wrapping up video, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Well, I'm glad we've cleared all that up, and it was a fun experiment.
It was indeed, yeah. Please don't ever try riding blindfolded outside, because it's not smart.
It's definitely not smart. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up and let us know what you think of 105 and Dura-Ace in the comment section down below.
Absolutely, we'll be very interested to read your thoughts.
See you later.